What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my breakdown and analysis of the new Nabata Desert banner, and we have got Altina as an Axe Infantry unit this time. So she has a dual phase Brave Axe. This is going to be giving her -1 special cooldown, and she does have a new special in Arms of 3. So it's a 2 cooldown special and it becomes 1 cooldown with her weapon, and then she can pre-charge it and loop it with Time Pulse 4 in her kit. And because of having a dual phase Brave weapon, she's easily going to be able to function as a Vantage unit, and she also has distant counter built into this weapon, which is really good because she can just run the finish kill and run some other Sacred Seal that can boost up her attack. And then at start of combat, if her HP is at or above 25%, then she can inflict debuffs on foes' attack, defense, and resistance depending on her visible resistance at start of combat added by 5. So it is going to be taking 20% of her visible resistance, and then it is going to be adding it to 5 for the total debuffs. So she's likely going to be having high resistance because of the nature of her special and also how she's slow. So she's likely going to be stacking up a lot of bulk. And finally, she has also got the Scowl effect built in this weapon, which is only going to be triggering when you're going to be facing damaging specials of the opponent. And if your resistance is more than foe's resistance plus 5, then you're able to get the Scowl effect before their first attack. So this is going to be really helpful for her as a tank, and this is not exactly the super Scowl skill like we have seen before on Winter Pilot, but still it does provide that safety net. Even if you're going to be vantaging, at least you're not going to be getting blown up by the special of the enemy. And then she does have a preferred special in Arms of the 3. So this is going to be giving her damage based on 40% of her resistance, and just like Twin Blades, this is going to be nullifying any kind of percentage based DR skills of the opponent. So damage reduction piercing is amazing as this kind of dual phase Brave weapon user, and she doesn't really have to run no quarter as a special compared to the other infantry units. And then at start of combat, if her special is ready, then she's able to get unpierceable damage reduction up to 30%, and this damage reduction is resistance based. So in a way, you can think that this is a Dragon Wall damage reduction. It's just that it is not going to be pierceable because it doesn't explicitly tell us that this is a pierceable damage reduction like they do with Vital Astra. So having this kind of unpierceable damage reduction on a bulky unit with Scowl is really amazing for Omni tanking. And this is also going to be really helpful in vantaging because we're going to be able to pierce through the damage reduction of any kind of nuke. And nowadays nukes have insane amount of damage reduction. So that is just not going to be mattering to Altina. And even if she's going to be facing some hardy bearing opponent, she's still going to be able to just tank them because of this unpierceable damage reduction, which not a lot of Vantage units can do, honestly. She does have attack resistance finish 4 as her slotted skill, which does work, giving her healing and the true damage, and it is also going to be giving her more resistance, which does help with the Scowl effect in her weapon and also for the damage output with her special. She does have the tier 4 version of Attack Defense Bulwark, so it is going to be having that super obstruct effect essentially, and it is going to be inflicting -4 attack and defense debuff on the foe, and it also gives you 40% damage reduction from foe's first attack, including the Brave hits. So having this kind of damage reduction is going to be helpful for many of these slower units who want to run this Bulwark skill, and it also heals up 7 HP after the combat. So this is going to be a pretty nice skill, even though you can just run Vantage on Altina, and that is going to be helping you quite a lot. And even Null Counter Disrupt in Aether Raids offense, because not getting countered by the Fire Sweep or Wind Sweep units is going to be huge, and she already has a distant counter weapon. So I do think that Null Counter Disrupt is going to be a bit better if you're going to be tanking, and if you're going to be just vantaging with her, then you can just run Vantage and run her with any kind of unit that does the friendly fire damage like Winter Bernadetta or Spring Bernadetta, and just use Reciprocal Aid and fall into the range of Vantage. She does have Time Pulse 4, which is perfect with her special because she's always going to be able to charge it and loop it. So she's going to be having the damage reduction piercing at all times, and also that unpierceable damage reduction. So this kind of Altina is going to be really solid as an Omni tank and also as a Vantage unit, and she can survive even the hardy bearing foes, which is really amazing as a failsafe. And her animation is also really top tier. She's being used in Aether Raids offense, and she had Micaiah and Sanaki by her side. And then we have got Nabata Juno as the Sword Flyer. So she's a bit of a frontliner as a melee flyer and also a support unit. At first, I thought she might be a dagger unit, but no, she just has a short sword. So Blade of Sands does give her -1 special cooldown, making Luna into a 2 cooldown special, and also making No Quarter into a 2 cooldown special. And at start of turn, if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, then she can give herself and those allies in 2 spaces the +6 speed and resistance buff, and also the bonus doubler status and the null panic status. So if you don't really have Legendary Eliwood, then she's going to be a pretty good support unit for that bonus doubler stacking. And it is also going to be available in any kind of season for Aether Raids offense usage. But just keep in mind that we do have the ploy status now, which is going to be stopping the bonus doubler status. Still, I mean, it can be useful in Summoner Duels because the ploy skills don't really have enough range for that game mode, and you can easily let her function as a frontliner with that guard bearing 4, and also by giving bonus doubler to all of your units, and also null panic. And if she's within 2 spaces of an ally or initiates combat, then she's able to get +5 to all of her stats, and also gets the full null follow-up effect, and also true damage based on 20% of her speed. This is not going to be getting added for any kind of AoE special, so only there for the combat, and this is a pretty basic weapon outside of the support that she can provide. So she can function as a melee frontliner, as I said before, and she can easily function as a support unit because she's a flyer. She can just run Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance, or even the Rain Snap skill if you want to give another status effect to an ally for something like a Prime skill. So she does have Luna Guard Bearing 4 for the damage reduction, and also Attack Defense Oath 4. So it does go really well with her weapon because she can already buff up her resistance and speed with the weapon, and then she can buff up the other 2 stats with this skill, and it also provides her the teleportation. And this is not going to be beating Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance because they're just that good of a skill. So overall, she's a pretty nice support unit if you don't really have Eliwood, and even if you do, then she can function for Summoner Duels. You can already frontline all that easily with Legendary Eliwood, and she does have the guard bearing skill, and also she can let you use the Soaring Guidance teleportation, which is pretty huge in Summoner Duels. And then we have got the 4-star focus unit of this banner in Tormod. So he's a red infantry mage, and he doesn't really have a preferred weapon, but actually has a pretty nice inhittable weapon. And as we can see, he does get the unhindered status, unhindered movement status, that is. So Nabata Beacon Plus is a 12 might weapon, which is going to be giving you that unhindered movement status, and also the desperation status to the unit if they're within 2 spaces of an ally. So this unhindered movement status is basically just going to be helping infantry units get past the tree tiles. But if you run this on a cavalier, then they can, get over their trench weakness, which is a huge thing. So if you're a fast unit, you can easily try and run this weapon, as it is going to be giving you more utility than the arcane weapon, especially if you're a cavalier. And then it does give you +4 to all of these stats in the combat, and also gives you true damage based on 10% of units attack. And this is going to be excluding AoE specials. So overall, this is a pretty decent weapon and can actually be a good weapon until we get some kind of speedy arcane tome in the future. And especially for cavaliers, this is going to be a huge thing. And he also has speed resistance tempo 3, which is amazing on a 4-star focus. So he is basically going to be providing the fodder which Monica does in the Divine Codes. We don't really have the tier 4 version of the tempo skill for the speed and resistance variant, but we should be getting it sooner or later, and then this is going to be really, really helpful. So overall, he's going to be a pretty nice 4-star focus, and he does have high speed at base 45 and also base 43 attack. So he is going to be having the Gen 8 stats for an infantry mage, and he can certainly work out with the stat spread if you're going to be investing heavily into him. And then we have got the star of this banner in Harmonic Igrene. So Nabata Igrene is a blue infantry archer, and she is with Louise. So this is a harmonic unit, not a duo unit, because Igrene is from Binding Blade and Louise is from Blazing Sword. So it is going to be helping you in resonant battles. And here we do see their stats. So she's going to be doing so much AoE damage. She's an insane AoE unit. So Sandglass Bow is going to be giving you -1 special cooldown, making Blazing Wind into a 3 cooldown special, and like all of the bows, it does have effective damage against flyers. And at start of turn 1, it is going to be giving you -2 special cooldown. So this is basically super quick and pulse effect, which is good for setting up any kind of AoE specials along with her Slotsy skill. And at start of turn, if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, then she can grant herself and the infantry and armored allies the unhindered movement status and also the +1 movement. And this is a huge thing because you can make the infantry lines now in Aether Raids defense. So you have seen cav lines, you have seen flyer lines, and now Igrene is going to be bringing in the infantry lines, which is going to be really annoying to tank because infantry nets have got a lot of tools. They have got the tempo skills, the null follow-up, the damage reduction piercing, and also the pre-charging of their specials with infantry pulse. They have a lot of tools to work with. So they all can just get +1 movement, and you can definitely use stalled status against them, but keep in mind that infantry units do have access to Safi now, who can just cleanse that stalled status, and there's also Freyr in the anima season. So I do think that infantry lines are something that Igrene is going to be starting because they can be really threatening because of the units that we've got and the options that they've got. And then she's herself going to be getting +6 attack and speed in the combat, and she also gets true damage based on 15% of her attack, including in her AoE attacks, and she also gets even more true damage based on X% of her speed. And this X is going to be dependent on her maximum special cooldown count, multiplied by 10 and then added by 10. It is going to be giving you 40% true damage based on her speed, and that's quite a lot. So even though usually you see Blazing Wind being run on these kinds of AoE units, you can still use the growing specials on her because she just gets so much AoE damage, kind of like a Syndit said, that she can just run the AoE special with a lower multiplier and still like do so much damage while covering a lot more area. So this is going to be an amazing weapon for AoE nuking, and she just easily kills the best far-safe tanks, or one of the best far-safe tanks in Winter Violet, because she does have the weapon strangle advantage and also the AoE special, which is going to be doing so much with her weapon. And she does have Flash Sparrow and Speed Defense Tempo 4 and a new Slotsy skill in Pulse Up Blades. So it is essentially going to be giving you the attack and speed buff depending on the turn that have passed, multiplied by 2. So on turn 3, you're going to be able to get +6 to both attack and speed, and you also get special cooldown count -1. So this is not going to be having the time pulses effect where it only, gives you the special cooldown if it's at max cooldown. This can even be useful if you're not at max cooldown. So it's a pretty good slotsy skill, useful on this kind of AoE nuking unit. So I do think that Nabata Igrene is going to be a monster with the kind of AoE nuking she can do, and it's not even just the AoE nuking. She is also really, really solid for Aether Raids defense for the infantry lines, and I do think that we're going to be seeing those kinds of teams a lot more if Legendary Hinoka was anything to go by. And she does have her Harmonic skill, which does give Resonant Blades, Treachery status, and also the Desperation status to herself and allies from the same title. So basically the Elite units can get these status effects. This is also helpful in Summoner Duels, obviously, because the Harmonic skills and Duo skills are a lot more usable there compared to Aether Raids offense, where we're just going to be facing Duo Hindrance teams. And the good thing about her is that she's also going to be enabling Duo's Hindrance while enabling the infantry line. So that is going to be really, really strong. And I do think that she is going to be the best unit out of this banner. We also have a Tempest Trial unit and Nabata Hawkeye, and he's a Lance Infantry unit. He's got Nabata Lance Plus as the inedible Lance, and this is pretty much the same weapon as Tormod, but it's going to be giving him the Hexblade status over the Desperation status. So it's probably going to be slow, and this is going to be a pretty good weapon because it is going to be giving you that unhindered movement. And again, on the Lance Cavaliers, this is going to be a pretty good weapon to run if you don't have access to any of the arcane weapons. And it does give him +4 to all of his stats, and also gives him true damage based on 10% of his attack. He does have Defense Res Ideal 3 and also Panic Ploy 3 as the skills, which is not the greatest. They could have definitely given us something else. I would have liked Shield Pulse because having it in the Grail Pool would have helped if you want to fodder off Severa for Buffer 4. And then for the new Sacred Seals, we have got Speed Defense Rain and also Threat and Attack Resistance. So Speed Defense Rain is going to be a pretty nice Sacred Seal, but that is pretty much going to be it when it comes to the Tempest Trial. I'll be making a full review on Nabata Hawkeye tomorrow as we get his stats, so look forward to that. And overall, this banner is going to be having some strong units in Nabata Altina and also Nabata Igrene, who's going to be making an entirely new archetype in Aether Raids defense for the infantry lines. And there's also Nabata Juno, who can function as a good support unit and can especially work really well in Summoner Duels. So there is going to be the Hero Fest banner on the anniversary, and we're also going to be getting a Hero Rises in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to be knowing who's going to be on the voting gauntlet. So those are going to be some of the banners you can look forward to, and we're probably going to be getting a double mythic banner at the end of this month. So that is also another banner to look forward to. So let me know in the comments what do you think about this banner, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps tremendously, and if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more free videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as damage reduction against Nabata Altina. So that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.